Alexander the Great, who ascended to the throne of Macedonia in 356 BC, was a formidable ruler trained under the guidance of Aristotle. His father, King Philip II, had bequeathed him an exceptional military force, which Alexander skillfully utilized to expand his empire. During his extensive campaign in India, which lasted over a decade, his army reached its limit. Weary from prolonged warfare and distant from home, the Macedonian troops' morale was deeply affected, culminating in a significant mutiny at the Hyphasis River. This pivotal moment forced Alexander to reconsider his conquests, leading him to turn back toward Babylon. Upon his return, Alexander's empire, though vast and powerful, was rife with underlying tensions. The integration of diverse cultures and populations, while ambitious, created a complex tapestry of interests and loyalties. Macedonian troops, once the core of his military strength, increasingly felt alienated by Alexander's apparent favoritism towards Persian customs and elites. This cultural integration, symbolized by events such as the mass wedding at Susa where Alexander encouraged marriages between his Macedonian soldiers and Persian women, was met with mixed reactions, exacerbating tensions within the ranks. Alexander's sudden death in 323 BC, under mysterious circumstances, left a power vacuum that his empire was ill-prepared to fill. The lack of a clear successor led to immediate disputes among his generals, known as the Diadochi. These disputes quickly escalated into a series of bloody conflicts, fragmenting the empire into competing Hellenistic states. This period was marked by a struggle for power, territorial disputes, and the eventual disintegration of the unified empire Alexander had built. In our alternate timeline, we consider a scenario where Alexander's untimely demise did not occur, allowing him to address these burgeoning issues within his empire. This reimagined history explores how Alexander might have navigated the complex web of cultural, military, and political challenges, potentially altering the course of history as we know it. Following the subjugation of the Persian Empire, Alexander embarked on an ambitious plan to integrate Persian soldiers into his army. Recognizing their expertise in archery and cavalry, he saw the value in diversifying his military tactics. Persian warriors were not only inducted as foot soldiers but also took on significant roles in the cavalry units, bringing with them their own traditions and expertise. This integration signified a shift from a purely Macedonian fighting force to a more culturally and tactically diverse army. Understanding the weariness and the long service of his Macedonian troops, Alexander made the compassionate decision to send a significant portion of these veterans back to Macedonia. They were honored for their service and provided with pensions, ensuring their loyalty and securing stability in his homeland. This act of gratitude and recognition was crucial in maintaining the morale and support of his original supporters. With the ranks of his veteran Macedonians diminishing, Alexander embarked on a large-scale recruitment and training program across his empire. Young men from various regions, including Persians, Egyptians, and others from newly conquered territories, were drafted into the army. This new force was trained in the rigorous Macedonian style of warfare, which emphasized discipline, the use of the phalanx, and combined arms tactics. However, Alexander also recognized the importance of incorporating the unique skills and tactics of the native people. This included specialized training in local warfare techniques, which added a new dimension to the army's capabilities. The training regimen was comprehensive, ensuring that the new recruits were not only physically prepared but also mentally indoctrinated into the ethos of Alexander's army. The goal was to create a fighting force that was diverse yet unified, combining the best of Macedonian military discipline with the strengths of other cultures. Alexander, now with a restructured army, sets his sights on the Arabian Peninsula. This decision was rooted in more than just a desire for expansion, it was a strategic move to secure the heartland of his vast empire. The Arabian Peninsula, with its proximity to the core regions of Alexander's empire, including Egypt and Persia, held immense strategic value. By controlling Arabia, Alexander could secure critical trade routes and ensure a central position from which he could efficiently manage his empire. More importantly, the control of this region provided a strategic advantage in quelling potential rebellions. Its central location meant that Alexander could deploy his forces relatively quickly to any part of his empire, thereby maintaining a tight grip on his vast and culturally diverse territories. Understanding the challenges of the Arabian terrain, Alexander meticulously prepared for this campaign. His army, now a blend of Macedonian discipline and diverse cultural tactics, was specially equipped for the arid conditions. Supplies, logistics, and most importantly, water sources, were carefully planned. Alexander also employed local guides and experts in desert warfare, integrating their knowledge into his military strategies. The campaign in Arabia unfolded with Alexander's characteristic blend of strategic brilliance and adaptability. He employed a mix of direct military engagements and carefully orchestrated sieges. The diverse composition of his army proved advantageous in navigating and adapting to the varied landscape of the peninsula. Alexander's approach to the local tribes and cities was a blend of diplomacy and military prowess. He sought to integrate them into his empire, offering autonomy within the larger framework and respecting their customs and leaders. This strategy not only ensured a smoother conquest but also laid the groundwork for long-term stability in the region. The successful conquest of Arabia brought significant benefits to Alexander's empire. It secured vital trade routes and resources, particularly in spices and incense, which were highly valued at the time. Economically, this bolstered the empire's wealth and trade capabilities. Having secured a stronghold in Arabia, he now considers several ambitious expansion options, each offering unique opportunities and challenges. Alexander's gaze turns westward towards the emerging powers of Rome and the established maritime might of Carthage. While Rome is still in its early stages of becoming a republic and not yet the colossal empire it would be known for, it represents a burgeoning power on the Italian peninsula. Carthage, on the other hand, is a dominant force in the western Mediterranean, rich in resources and strategically positioned. A campaign in this direction would require significant naval development and logistical planning. The political landscape of Western Europe is complex, and Alexander would need to navigate a multitude of new cultures and political systems. Alexander's earlier forays into India had revealed both the region's immense wealth and the formidable resistance posed by its states. A renewed push could promise substantial gains but would mean a protracted campaign against well-established kingdoms. Success in India would demand not just military might but also diplomatic and cultural adaptiveness. The diverse kingdoms, each with their unique traditions and tactics, would pose a different set of challenges than Alexander had previously encountered. After careful deliberation on these options, he decided to embark on an ambitious campaign against Carthage, the great maritime power dominating the western Mediterranean. Understanding Carthage's naval supremacy, Alexander opts for a land-based strategy. He fortifies his naval forces but focuses primarily on a ground campaign beginning from North Africa, where he already has a foothold. Recognizing the complexity of facing Carthage, Alexander meticulously gathers intelligence on their military, political landscape, and economic strengths. He also forges alliances with various tribes and cities in North Africa, many of which have grievances against Carthaginian dominance. Alexander's campaign against Carthage is marked by a methodical advance, carefully securing key locations along the North African coast. These strategic points serve as supply bases and staging grounds for further operations. Given the strong fortifications of Carthaginian cities, Alexander employs his expertise in siege warfare, while also adapting to the challenges of a predominantly naval theater. His forces construct innovative siege engines and develop tactics to counter Carthaginian naval movements. Maintaining supply lines across the North African terrain is a significant challenge. Alexander's logistical acumen is put to the test, ensuring that his forces are well equipped for prolonged engagements. The campaign requires continuous political maneuvering, both within newly allied North African territories and back in the core areas of his empire. The conquest of Carthage brings a wealth of resources into Alexander's empire, and establishes control over critical Mediterranean trade routes. Culturally, it leads to a fusion of Greek, Macedonian, and North African traditions. The fall of Carthage under Alexander's rule significantly alters the power dynamics in the Mediterranean region, cementing his position as one of the greatest military strategists of the ancient world. Now in his mid-40s, Alexander the Great bears the weight of nearly 3 decades of relentless campaigning. His body, once the epitome of physical prowess and resilience, shows the inevitable signs of his demanding life as a conqueror. Historically, Alexander sustained several serious wounds that would have undoubtedly taken a toll on his physical condition. For instance, during the fierce Battle of Issus, he suffered a thigh injury, and in the Siege of Gaza, he endured a serious shoulder wound. Perhaps most notably, at the Battle of the Granicus, he sustained a severe head injury, which could have had lasting impacts on his health. These injuries, accumulated over years of warfare, likely contribute to a decline in his physical capabilities. Despite his legendary endurance and strength, these wounds, coupled with the exhaustion of continuous warfare, suggest that Alexander, at this stage of his life, might not be in the best physical condition. As Alexander the Great enters his later years, his ambitions begin to evolve. Although he makes plans and preparations for a campaign to penetrate deeper into the Indian subcontinent, these plans never materialize. Instead, Alexander turns his attention toward strengthening the administrative framework of his vast empire. He works diligently to create a robust system of governance and to solidify a clear plan of succession, ensuring the stability and continuity of his empire after his reign. In addition to these administrative efforts, Alexander sponsors ambitious expeditions with the aim of circumnavigating the continent of Africa from both the east and west. While the technology of his age, primarily in navigation and seafaring, does present significant challenges, such voyages are not entirely outside the realm of possibility. The maritime technology of the Hellenistic world, though not as advanced as in later centuries, had reached a level where long sea voyages were feasible, as demonstrated by earlier Phoenician circumnavigation under the sponsorship of Egyptian pharaoh Necho II. These expeditions, if successful, could not only broaden the geographical knowledge of the time but also open up new trade routes, and further extend the cultural and economic influence of Alexander's empire. Now, having established a stable and expansive empire, Alexander the Great passed away peacefully in his late 50s. In this alternate narrative, the historical turmoil that typically followed his untimely death is absent. Instead, Alexander leaves behind a well-structured empire with a clear line of succession. His son, Alexander IV, groomed to be his successor, has been raised in a manner that mirrors Alexander's own upbringing. Emulating the royal education he received from Aristotle, Alexander the Great ensures that Alexander IV and the children of the nobility grow up together, fostering a sense of brotherhood and shared purpose among the next generation of leaders. This cohort, under the tutelage of the era's finest educators, is instilled with knowledge in governance, philosophy, and military tactics, as well as the values of leadership and unity. This strong core of educated and united nobility, together with a well-defined succession plan, provides the empire with a stable foundation. Alexander IV, raised to honor the diverse cultures within the empire and to value the wisdom of his advisors, is exceptionally prepared to assume the mantle of leadership. Thus, the empire, under the guidance of a new generation, is poised to continue its legacy of strength, stability, and cultural richness, with the potential to maintain its cohesion and prosperity for generations to come. In this alternate timeline where Alexander the Great's empire remains stable and dominant, also the course of Roman expansion would likely be significantly altered. Without the opportunity to expand eastward due to the presence of Alexander's formidable empire, Rome would find its ambitions in the Hellenistic world severely constrained. The Greek cities in Italy, under the protective influence of Alexander's empire, would be less likely to fall under Roman control, deterring Rome from engaging in aggressive wars in these regions for fear of provoking a conflict with a powerful adversary. Consequently, Rome might redirect its expansionist efforts northward and westward, towards the less organized and fragmented tribes of Gaul and Germania. Such a shift in focus could lead to a markedly different cultural development for Rome. Instead of the profound Greek influence that historically shaped Roman art, literature, philosophy, and governance, Rome in this alternate timeline might experience a stronger Germanic or Gallic influence. This could manifest in various aspects of Roman culture, military practices, and even religious beliefs, reflecting the customs and traditions of the northern tribes. These changes could also affect the political and military strategies of Rome. The Roman Republic, and later the Empire, might evolve with a different set of priorities and methods, shaped more by the challenges of dealing with the Germanic and Gallic tribes than by the complex geopolitics of the Hellenistic world. Furthermore, the dynamics of power in the Mediterranean would be fundamentally different. With a powerful Hellenistic empire in the east and a culturally distinct Roman state in the west, the course of European history could take a drastically different path, potentially altering the timeline of major events like the Punic Wars, the spread of Christianity, and the eventual fall of the Roman Empire. In this alternate timeline, we can also witness the emergence of a unique Greco-Iranian cultural world. This fusion harmoniously combines the rich traditions of Greek art, philosophy, and political thought with the profound religious beliefs, artistic styles, and administrative practices of the Persian world. The influence of Zoroastrianism, the predominant religion in ancient Persia, intermingles with the diverse religious and philosophical spectrum of the Greeks. This leads to an intriguing syncretic religious landscape, where the monotheistic tenets of Zoroastrianism are more widely accepted and integrated with Greek polytheistic practices and philosophical inquiries. The result is a rich, diverse spiritual environment where new forms of worship and belief systems could flourish. In terms of social structures, the legacy of the Achaemenid Empire, known for its more benevolent approach to governance and its somewhat more tolerant policies compared to the Greeks, significantly influences attitudes towards slavery. While completely abolishing slavery might be overly optimistic, given its deep entrenchment in the ancient world, it is plausible that Alexander's empire would see substantial reforms. These changes could lead to more humane treatment of slaves and a gradual reduction in the dependency on slave labor, influenced by Persian practices and philosophies. The cultural impact of this Greco-Iranian fusion extends far beyond religion and social reforms. Art, science, and philosophy would likely experience a remarkable period of growth and innovation, fueled by the exchange of ideas and knowledge between these two ancient civilizations. The political landscape, too, would be reshaped, diverging significantly from the Greco-Roman model we know historically. This could result in the development of new forms of governance, legal systems, and civic institutions, reflecting a blend of Greek and Persian influences. In this alternate historical trajectory, Alexander's empire serves as a melting pot of Greek and Persian cultures, leading to a distinctive and rich cultural tapestry. The implications of this cultural synthesis would be far-reaching, potentially setting the stage for a different course of development in art, philosophy, governance, and social norms in the regions under its influence. In a world where Alexander not only conquers vast territories but also successfully administers a large and diverse empire, the perception of what constitutes greatness in a leader undergoes a significant transformation. Historically, Alexander's epithet the Great and his adoption of the title King of Kings were largely tied to his military conquests, particularly the defeat of the Persian Empire. This association of greatness with military conquest influenced many future leaders, like Napoleon Bonaparte, who sought to emulate Alexander's conquests, viewing military expansion as the pinnacle of leadership success. However, in a world where Alexander's legacy is equally defined by his administrative prowess and his ability to integrate and govern a vast and culturally diverse empire, the criteria for greatness expand beyond mere conquest. The title of great becomes synonymous not just with military achievement, but also with effective governance, cultural integration, and the promotion of prosperity and stability within an empire. This redefined notion of greatness could influence successive generations of leaders. Future rulers might aspire to emulate Alexander not only as conquerors but also as wise administrators and unifiers. Historical figures such as Augustus Caesar, known for his administrative reforms and establishment of the Roman Empire's Pax Romana, or Ashoka the Great of the Maurya dynasty, who after a series of conquests turned towards Buddhism and governance for the welfare of his subjects, might be seen in a new light. Their administrative and unifying accomplishments could be valued as highly as their military conquests. In this context, the Persian concept of the King of Kings also evolves. It comes to symbolize not just a ruler of multiple conquered kingdoms, but a sovereign who successfully integrates diverse cultures, religions, and peoples under a single, stable administration. This shift could lead to a world where the legacy of a ruler is measured by their ability to create a lasting, peaceful, and prosperous society rather than just by the expanse of their conquered territories. Now, finally, let's imagine a clash between the expanded Romano-Germanic sphere and the Greco-Iranian world of Alexander's empire, several centuries into our alternate timeline. This monumental cultural and political confrontation sets the stage for a defining moment in the history of this alternate, ancient world. Rome, having steered its expansionist drive northward and westward, encompasses the vast lands of Germania, Gaul, and Britain. This expansion has led to the emergence of a distinct Romano-Germanic identity, blending Roman administrative acumen with the cultural elements of Germanic and Gallic societies. The evolution of Roman law, governance, and military strategies, heavily influenced by Germanic warrior traditions and Gallic social structures, gives birth to a formidable and unique civilization. In contrast, the Greco-Iranian world, a testament to the vast empire built by Alexander, stands as an equally powerful cultural and political entity. It is a world where Greek philosophical and artistic brilliance is harmoniously intertwined with Persian administrative expertise and the spiritual depth of Zoroastrianism. This empire has not only preserved its vast territories but has also driven significant progress in science, philosophy, and the arts, enriched by the ongoing intellectual exchange between Greek and Persian thinkers. The potential for conflict between these two civilizations could arise from various factors: competition over trade routes, territorial disputes, or deep-seated ideological differences. The Romano-Germanic realm, emboldened by its military might and expansionist aspirations, might view the affluent and diverse lands of the Greco-Iranian Empire as prime targets for conquest or influence. On the other hand, the Greco-Iranian Empire, with its rich cultural legacy and advanced technology, could perceive the growing influence of the Romano-Germanic domain as a direct threat to its interests and cultural identity. This clash, should it occur, would represent not just a military and political struggle but a profound collision of ideologies and worldviews. The outcome of such a conflict would have far-reaching implications, decisively shaping the dominant cultural and political narratives in this alternate ancient world. The echoes of this monumental clash would significantly influence the trajectory of Western and Eastern civilizations, leaving an indelible mark on the course of history. And with that, we close yet another intriguing journey through the realms of what-ifs here at Alternative History Adventures. Thank you for joining us on this fascinating exploration of the past as it might have been. We hope this adventure has sparked your imagination and opened new windows into the endless possibilities history holds. Remember, history is not just a record of what happened, but a tapestry woven with the threads of countless untold stories waiting to be explored. Until our next adventure, keep pondering the mysteries of the past and exploring the myriad ways our world could have been shaped. Farewell, fellow history adventurers, and keep the spirit of curiosity alive.